Brown. Hi, fishy jerks. I just had to put my phone on airplane because my son said he was going to call me. Hello, everybody. Hi, Jenna.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me tonight. Real quick, the normal spiel here. I don't see anybody that's not usually here, but we don't look at the chat at all the whole first part of the show. It's just going to be Jen and I having a conversation. We're going to learn about Jenna, where she's from, where she's going, what she does, all that kind of fun stuff. So if you come in and say hi and we don't say something, that's why. And mods, if you see somebody asking questions, please just remind them to hold those questions to the second half. Because if I look over there, I get distracted. Michelle was just telling me just a few minutes ago that I'm easily distracted, and she wants to say squirrel quite often in the stream just to, Second thing, there was something else. Sandy Remiker, Cat Hair Crafts, lost her brother just a couple of days ago. Alexander, dude, right off the bat, coming in. Thanks, man. Thank you, sir. I really do appreciate that. Again, you don't know. I can't. Thank you, Alexander. Or he threw me all off. That's it. We're done. See you guys. Thanks for coming. Sandy Remiker, Cat Hair Crafts, lost her brother just a couple of days ago. So she's not going to be around for a little bit. But if you guys happen to see her, maybe it'd be nice to, condolences and all of that. Sandy's a super nice person. And she was very close with her brother. So if you see her around, please, react accordingly. That's it. Hi, Jenna.
Hi.
It's your turn. You get to talk finally.
Well, I feel like I get to talk enough against Steven. He lets me talk.
He does. He's good that way. He listens to you. And I know he listens to you. I see that. And that's important for us. That's important for us to listen to our significant others. So I don't know there's anybody here who doesn't know who Jenna P is. Jenna P is one of the team from the P2K crew from Stephen P and Jenna P Aquatics. They have a great stream they do on Wednesday nights, Dreamy McStreamy. They also do other panel shows here and there and pop-ups and stuff. A lot of cool content. Jenna was involved with the I Am a Snail song. She was one of the backup singers in that. And, as a spouse of a fish keeper, Jenna on her own knows quite a bit about fish. But I just want to throw this out there. Even if you didn't keep fish on your own, the fact that you come into the streams and you support everybody and you're hanging out with us makes you a part of the Fish Fam all on your own. Just that. So a good example too is Kyle. He doesn't really care so much about the keeping of the fish, but he's still here supporting us. And that's all that matters. That's all that makes Fish Fam. So when it comes to people that I want to interview, you don't have to even keep fish. You just have to be a part of our community. All right. Enough of that. Jenna, you live in Louisiana, right?
Yes.
And how long? Your entire life? Are you Louisiana born?
My entire life. The house that we live in is less than a minute away from the house I grew up in. We lived for a year out by LSU when we were in college, and then while we were engaged, and then when we got married, we bought a house in this same neighborhood that I grew up in.
Wow. And do your parents still live in that house?
My mom does. My stepdad passed away a few years ago, so she lives in there by herself.
Okay. So I guess that's nice to have you guys close. That's pretty cool. But so you didn't travel too far away from home.
No.
So Steven's a perfect mate for you in that way, because I know he's a lot like myself and doesn't like to travel far from home at all.
No, and we didn't purposely pick this neighborhood. It just happened to be when we were looking at houses. This is where the house we wanted was. That was within our price range and a good When we were looking for something that could be a starter house, but if it turned into a forever house, it wouldn't be so uncomfortable
Oh,
to have a
gotcha.
family.
Gotcha. Um, and you said LSU, so that is that where you went to college too?
Yes, I went to
Okay.
LSU for bachelor and master's degree.
Okay, gotcha. And now, and we'll go through like your work history and
Mhm.
stuff, but now you are a teacher for uh is it a public school? What kind of
It
school do you
is.
teach at? Okay.
It's a public school. I teach in a Montessori program at a public school. There are only two Montessori schools in our school district, but we have a very big school district, like something like 40,000 employees. So over 100 schools.
Wow. And that does that cover all of Louisiana?
No, it's just East Baton Rouge Parish, just
Oh,
the parish we
geez.
live in. And there are actually other school districts within East Baton Rouge Parish that are public that kind of sectioned off. Like where I live, our own kids don't go to East Baton Rouge Parish schools because there's a community school district here that just has like 5 schools
Oh, that's
and they go
weird.
to
I
those.
didn't. Yeah, that's different than how they do things up here. Um, so they just thought there was enough. Is there a lot of people that live in your area? I was under the impression that it wasn't like massively populated, but is there a good
In
population?
our city, um, maybe about 12,000 people.
Oh, no, that's not big
It's
at
not,
all.
but it's not super small compared to, and our city actually wasn't a city until 2003. It incorporated so that it could become its own independent school district.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, and how many kids do you have? I'm just curious. This is a total aside. It's nothing against, nothing about you at all, really. But I'm just curious because we've lived in different places and watching my
Mhm.
kids go through school. How many kids do you have in your class that you teach?
In my class, 18 to 22, 3 to
Okay.
5 year olds, whenever I taught fifth grade, I had 2 classes of 26. So,
Okay.
but there's different, like, because I teach Montessori and it's a special program that people have to apply to get into, the numbers are a little bit smaller. Um, I think for kindergarten, it's something like 28 maximum students, and up to fifth grade, I think you can have up to 32 in a class,
Okay. So it's pretty
which is a
comparable.
lot.
That's pretty comparable. I mean, Arizona at one time, because they were so overwhelmed with all the people, because for decades, the little towns on the east side of Phoenix were the fastest growing in the nation.
Mhm.
And they were so far behind it. In second grade, my son had 75 kids in their classroom with just a teacher, not even a teacher's aide with them. And they were in a mobile home type thing, like a modular home that was
Yeah.
out in the playground because they
They
had
call
had
it
to
a
bring all the
T
rooms.
building.
A T building.
That's what they like to call it here. They when schools need to expand, they'll build in those like mobile home trailer type places and they'll call them T buildings. It stands for temporary building, but they're
Uh,
not temporary.
they're
They
not
just stay
temporary.
there.
Yeah. So that's why I was curious. That's why I went off on that whole aside, because as soon as we moved to New York, it went way down. He had like 12 kids in his class in like third grade with a teacher's aide. I mean, it really was a vast difference between, but that's a part of why we left Arizona, is because of those types
Yeah.
of issues. Anyways, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So enough of
75
that.
is a lot. A
Yeah,
lot.
it was crazy. It was crazy. There was,
I this past school year I had 18, and in Montessori you are required to have a teacher assistant. So I have an assistant, and I actually have a special needs child who has a child specific assistant. So I had me plus 2 adults in the room.
gotcha. So that's so much better. I mean, it really is.
Yes.
It's ridiculous that, uh, nope, don't look at the chat. Don't look at the chat. um, it's just ridiculous that it got out of control. Anyways, I'm sorry to go off on that aside, but it was just something that piqued my curiosity. Okay, so let's go way back to the beginning. Since you didn't move around a lot, we don't have a lot to talk about there. What about jobs that you had? Did you work at all while you were going through like high school and stuff, or did you just really focus on schooling? Okay, what kind of
Um,
jobs did you do?
so my first job I got my senior year of high school, and it was at a clothing store. I started out part time while I was in high school, and then because I could set my college schedule to like take all of my classes at 7 in the morning, I was done by noon, and I was able to start working full time. And worked my way up to manager at that clothing store, and at the same time started working at an entertainment magazine at LSU. So I had two jobs going at one point. And then when I quit the clothing store, I was still working for the entertainment magazine, but also started working at a car insurance company, doing QA work. And I did that up until I graduated with my master's degree. So at one point, I was working full time, 40 hours a week, and doing student teaching and
Wow,
doing graduate work.
wow,
And
yeah,
so whenever I graduated and got my first teaching job, it's like, well, this is nothing in terms of work.
yeah. It was easy. Now, and what was Steven doing at that time too? Was he done with school at that point when you were doing that real heavy stuff? So he was able to
Yes,
help out, and no kids at that point.
no kids at that point. I I had Lillian my second year of teaching, so I was done with
Okay,
college and everything.
okay,
Stephen graduated right before we got married in 2008, and so he had been working at his job doing. He wasn't working from home at that point, though. He was actually having to go into the office every day. He was going into the office even when Lillian was a baby.
that
So
poor
that,
man. Because I know how that would
yeah,
affect him. I know his life must be so much better now.
yes,
You know, it really must be. But it's not about Steven, it's about you. It's hard to not go off, on
yeah,
that tangent, because you both are such an integral part of our community that, uh, and you're
yeah,
connected so much, it's hard to not talk about that stuff. Plus, Steven's my friend. So,
yeah.
um, so it's
And
it's
he's
difficult.
been a big part of my life. We started dating when I was 14. So we've been together about 20
Wow.
years.
High
20
school
years in July. Yes.
high school sweethearts. There was a
Hmm.
hair. High school sweethearts. You don't hear about that. 20
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
I mean, the majority of your life already you've spent with
Yes.
your significant other. I'm gonna stop saying his name because this is about you. He's just your SO from now on. So yeah, most of your life now has already, and you're still pretty young, has been spent
Hmm.
with your significant other. That's pretty cool,
Yes.
because that's the kind of stories you read about, another 50 years from now, and you've been married for all this time, and you guys are basically fused at the hip and hate each other. you know, you just
We
just
don't
dying
hate
to get
each
away from
other,
each
but
other.
probably fused at the hip.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to talk about that entertainment magazine. What was that
Yes.
exactly? Because entertainment magazine could be so many different things. What exactly was it?
It so it was called Tiger Weekly. I don't think it exists anymore. And there were like entertainment articles. Like I wrote an advice column. So did Stephen. We both wrote one. But there would be like local bands, and people would go and write those articles on those bands. There was a sports section. Um, if
Okay.
there was some big event happening around Baton Rouge or around the college, those would get a news article.
Okay.
So
I gotcha. So what to do, what to see, what's going on, that kind of
yeah,
stuff. Okay, that's pretty
yeah.
cool. I like that. So what did you exactly do on the magazine? What part did you play?
So different things at different times. I started doing fashion police because it was just somebody who came and took pictures of people like wearing crazy things around campus, and their fashion police photographer quit. And Steven was working and he asked me if I could grab some pictures. So I did that and got my foot in the door. And then I moved up to writing a weekly article called Dirty Laundry, which was just celebrity gossip. Um,
Nice.
and then I ended up writing Steven started writing an article called Go To Guy, where he answered relationship questions. So I wrote a companion one called Go To Girl, where people would
Wait.
ask questions.
Was it actually GOTO or
Yes.
was it okay? Just making sure. Just
Yeah,
making sure the go wasn't
it
spelled.
wasn't the Louisiana go.
Yeah.
And then I started doing copy editing. And I think we talked about it on our stream one time that Steven became the managing editor. And so I would do copy editing of some news and entertainment articles, but he put me in charge of sports editing. It was terrible because sports articles are very boring already. I'm sorry, I know you like sports, but reading an article written about a sports game that already happened, it's pretty boring. We had our deadlines, which was we had to get everything to our graphic designer by Monday morning so that he could put it all in, fit it in with the ads and the graphics, and get it off to the printers on Tuesday because it was out, published, distributed to the public on Wednesday. And so that meant on Sunday, I needed to try to have everything from the sports section edited. But a lot of sports games are on the weekend. So
Yep.
for a while, it would be that I'm waiting up Sunday until I can't possibly be awake anymore. And I had a 7:30 class in the morning. So at some point at like midnight, I would have to just set my alarm on the hour every hour and check for articles. And just when it was 7 o'clock, I would just have to wake up Steven and tell him, I'm still waiting on this one article. It's on you. And usually I was able to get it done.
You know, it was even even worse for you because you had no. If it was something you had at least a passing interest in, it wouldn't have been as bad. If something that you had some excitement in, but it's like insult to injury by making you be sports. I'm surprised you guys made it. To be honest, I'm surprised you didn't leave your significant other in the dust and just say, "No, I'm not doing this anymore." You know, that was just rude, Steven. I'm very disappointed in you. Yeah, because that had to be difficult. Yeah, and you talked about celebrity gossip. Do you remember something that you wrote about celebrity gossip? Do you remember like any of the articles? Can you give us like just a quick example of something that you wrote?
I mean, I was writing at the time that Britney Spears went through her mental breakdown and shaved her head. So that was a big story at the time. Usually it was like 3 quick blurbs about something, not any like I didn't have any like inside scoop. There was no like celebrity that I could contact personally.
Yeah. You didn't did you have to cover leave Britney alone, that whole thing? Leave Britney alone. You know, that whole was that included at some point or just the whole feedback?
Just just
all right. Okay.
Chris something was his name, right? The guy who did the Leave Britney Alone video.
I have no idea what his name was. Yeah, I don't remember. I just remember he was crying and you bitches leave Britney alone, and just I don't know. Yeah, it was a very to get that emotional over a celebrity like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people do.
Yeah, I guess, you know, they felt an affinity, you know, so.
And there's some celebrities that you feel special attachments to. I know this isn't really a celebrity, but do y'all get the Kid Craddock morning show? It's a syndicated radio show.
I have not listened to radio in forever. So what's it called again?
The Kid Craddock morning show.
And it doesn't sound familiar.
It's a syndicated radio show set in Dallas, and it was it was regional for a while, so I had listened to it since I was young, like maybe 5th grade, 10 years old. And in 2013, I believe, 13 or 14, the main host, Kid Craddock, had like a sudden heart attack and died. And like I was crying over it. It was emotional because even though you've never met this person, you know, listening to him on the radio for 15 years is a lot.
I get it. I get it. When Walter Payton died, it was surprising to me. I mean, he had been sick for a while, and he was an idol to me. I will say that because his work ethic, the man was amazing at what he did, and just always a positive attitude. But anyways, so I guess I could see that. But I don't know. Oh, I looked in the chat, but somebody dropped his name. All right, Bex got it. Good job, Bex. Okay, so you did the paper for a while as you were doing other stuff, and now was that also for credit for school as well? Did you get credit?
It was for freelance money.
Okay, gotcha.
$10 an article,
gotcha.
And our taxes, it was not taxed, so we had to fill out the 1090 form.
1099, yeah.
So.
Yep, I've done a lot of that stuff. See, I didn't have any type of. You're lucky because at least you had some kind of skill or something like that. Because I didn't have anything like that, so we gave a lot of plasma when I was, that age and looking for that extra income. We gave a lot of plasma because in Arizona you get paid for it. I'd make an extra couple $100 a month giving plasma. So at least you had a. Some type of skill to fall back on to be able to do that. There could have been worse things.
Wasn't a very high-paying skill.
Yeah, but still, extra income. It's always nice to have something to fall back on. Yeah. Okay, so you did that, and then you finally you graduated. And did you go to the Montessori school right away, or the school with that program, or did you do other teaching before that?
So my very first teaching position in the parish was kind of like get my foot in the door. It was a school that was closing, and I took the position because once you're in the school district, unless you leave or you do something where you're terminated, they'll transfer you if your school is closing or if your position changes. So I accepted a 5th grade gifted position, and it ended up being really great because it was closing school. I only had 10 students. So it was a great way to get started. It wasn't very stressful because it was gifted and they wanted us to do an accelerated program. We didn't have to teach the scripted curriculum. So I got to actually do novel studies with them. Because it was such a small class, like when we were teaching fractions and ratios, we built Stephen built like an actual spinning wheel for me with different sizes so that they could learn about ratios and probabilities. We cooked in there so that we could talk about measurement and proportions.
Real world.
A lot of fun things that kept them excited. And then after that year, I started working at the school I'm at now, originally as a 5th grade academic magnet teacher. I was in that position for 6 years. And then I became a reading interventionist and the technology facilitator for the school. And then our school had a population shrink. So they did not need an interventionist anymore. So I got shifted to Montessori, and it turns out that I really liked it. So
Gotcha. Um, and this is a generalization, but did behavioral were the
Mhm.
gifted kids any different to teach than say a regular classroom? Were they better behaved, the same? Were they? I mean, were they just kids, or did they seem like they were easier to get along with?
I well,
That's hard to say, I know, and
so
there's a lot loaded there, but
they they were, but also there are other factors. So one of my students that I had was older than everyone else because he had been expelled from a previous school for like hitting his teacher. So he
uh,
was an otherwise seemingly aggressive student, but he did great in my class. He was very respectful of me, and I don't know if in a previous situation he didn't feel like he was being heard and respected. Kids are kids. They have traumas that contribute to their behaviors, and I think that a lot of times it's about understanding and being respectful of them that
yeah,
really gets them to buy into it. And I will say it's much easier to get younger kids to buy into it because they haven't had years and years of maybe a bad teacher coming along and
yeah,
ruining school for them.
yeah, yeah. I definitely had plenty of those.
And for
I
parents
definitely
too, if you hear every year that your child is bad, by the time you get to fifth grade, you're done hearing it. You're done and you're not receptive.
I was lucky that way. All three of our kids, never once was there. Oh no, that's not true. My oldest son got suspended for a week because he took a little pocket knife to school to give to who became our other son, who we adopted later on, but he was still living at home. He gave him a knife because they were building something at his house, and they suspended him for that. He never even took it out or anything. He gave it to him. He took it out to give it to him. Somebody happened to see it and reported it, and he got suspended for that. But which was to me was ridiculous. But I get they have these,
Yeah.
policies, and um,
I did have a
we were
student
lucky.
bring a knife to school and not take it out. But the situation was that one of the students pulled me outside and said that a student had told other kids that he had a knife and he had a hit list.
Okay,
Um,
totally
and
different.
so that
Yeah,
was a totally
scary,
different situation.
scary.
And I I told her, I told the student who told me because she said that she was on the hit list. I said, what I want you to do is when we go to lunch and everybody's out of the room, tell me you need to go to the bathroom. And instead of going to the bathroom, go to the principal and tell them to go search his book sack while we're down here at lunch. And so that's what happened. And then he wouldn't know who told.
Yeah,
And he was suspended for 3 days and then he got to come back to school.
3 days with a hit list, huh?
3 days. I wasn't on the hit list. My partner teacher was. He got
Wow.
to go
I
and sit
mean,
back in her room every day for math and science.
I mean, a hit list at that point, that person has a goal, and it seems like 3 days
Yeah.
is not enough. That maybe there should have been a little bit more talking to, and a little bit more discussions, and a little bit more downtime. And again, my
Yeah.
son was he was suspended for like 2 weeks, and he told me he was taking a thing to school, and I didn't think anything of it. He told me before it even happened what the whole thing was about, and I supported him, and I told him, no, that's not. And it was 2 weeks,
Yeah.
so just very different. I mean, a hit list.
Yeah.
That's amazing to me that we just
Yeah.
sweep it under the rug and don't. I mean, that kid's definitely had some major issues if he created a hit list.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing to me. I just don't see how we get that far and let it just go. But all right. Anyways, all right. So let's shift gears a little bit. We talked about all the different jobs and stuff. You didn't have a lot of moving around.
No.
I was thinking back over all the different people that we've interviewed so far. I'm not sure what number we're on, like 38 or something like that. No, 60, 60, 68, 60. 9, 16, something like that. Hey, Chris, multi-tank addiction. I'm sorry, I had to see. I try to get those pop-ups when they come up so they don't go away. But it's just good to see Chris. Chris isn't streaming anymore. He isn't really doing a ton of stuff right now. So it's good to see you, man. And thanks for the doo-doo that you do. But I was thinking about all the different people, and it's amazing how many people have really been very, very stable, like yourself, where as far as where you've lived. They really haven't moved a whole lot around. And to me, somebody who went to 13 schools just through high school and not including kindergarten, that's from 1st to 12th grade, 13 schools, it's amazing. And I think that it talks. You seem like a very stable person. And I think people like myself that move so much are different. I think it affects us badly, negatively. There's some positive too, but it's a negative thing. But people, and this is just from all the interviews that we've done so far and seen personalities that sort of coincide with people who move a lot.
I think that living in one place can make you stable, but sometimes in a bad way, because you have to be open to hearing other people's point of view.
Yeah.
Where we live is very, I mean, it's not small like where like Brienne lives. They're really small where they live, but it's small enough that people have had like the same views and for like generations, and they're not willing to grow and change.
Yeah, I get that.
And that's important to me to be, maybe my opinion won't change, but I can at least hear people out.
Yeah. And, education also has a lot to do with that. And I'm not saying that people without an education don't have an open mind, but, education does make a difference with that as far as understanding history and seeing different points of view. And Dave said, hey, there's Dave right there. Sorry, I looked at chat. He said there's 700 people in this town. That's even smaller than us.
There were 700 people at our school a few years ago.
We have 1,200 people in the village that we live in. So that's even smaller than us. And we live in an incredibly small town. So I just thought that was interesting, though, just thinking back on all the people that have lived in the same places for most of their life. Personality-wise, I think you see some commonality there, as far as their demeanor. Whereas people that have moved a lot are a little bit more. I would expect Eric Wyrock to have moved 50 times in 3rd grade alone. But you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm getting at, sort of. And I think actually Eric's had a very stable life too. So he's an outlier. Okay, so what about hobbies? Let's sort of shift gears. Besides the fish keeping, which again, you were actually the one who got Stephen interested in fish keeping. You bought him a fish tank for Christmas?
No. So whenever I started teaching Montessori, I didn't do anything about a class pet my first year. Then my second year teaching, I was going to actually get a rat, because I thought the kids would like it. They could hold it. They're very smart. But because we have 3-year-olds in our program, the state found out and we had to register as a daycare additionally. And you can't have any pets that can interact with the children. So I was like, okay, well, I had fish growing up. I'm going to get a fish tank. And then after I got that, it was very peaceful. And I told Stephen, we should really have one at home. And so I convinced him to get this one back here, this 40 breeder. That was our first one. I tried to tell him we can get maybe like a 20 or 30 gallon. Then I measured the spot secretly. And when we went, I was like, oh, this one will fit there. So we ended up getting a 40 breeder. And that was our first fish tank. And I think he was just in the right mindset, the right time in life to appreciate it and be willing to like realize that the maintenance wasn't work, that there's peace in that as well.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So I knew that you were instrumental. I just couldn't remember the exact story in getting him hooked into it. And actually, I think the very first video of Steven's I ever saw was him talking about how I was trying to point at it. I was like, this one up here. I was trying to point over your screen. The lighting that he did. I think that was the very first video I ever watched of his, was that lighting one. But did you also take to it as much as he did at first, or did he really dive into it a lot more than you did, or was it sort of at the same time for both of you?
I think we were both into it, but in different ways. Like, he really enjoys doing the maintenance and doing the plants and stuff, and I dove in with a lot of fish knowledge obsession. Like, when I was considering how to stock it, I went through so many videos of just aquarium co-op, KG Tropicals. Steenfot has a lot of rainbow fish, so I watched a lot of his videos. Just went through all the like top 10 lists basically, and then started watching additional videos based on people's personalities, just looking for information.
Gotcha. So you really dove in, but you guys were together with it the whole time.
Yes.
Just different. You went different
Yeah.
roles with it. Gotcha. Okay. So what other types of hobbies? I know you guys have the 2 dogs and stuff, but what other types of hobbies? What do you like to do in your down? Let's go back a little bit though. Before YouTube became such a big part of both of your lives, what did you like to do in your spare time the most? What was the thing that you did the most?
So hobbies that I have time for versus hobbies that I like to do.
Yeah.
I like horror movies, like horror things. I'll watch a lot of like true crime things. I also have a decent collection of horror novels and true crime books. So that's an easy hobby to slip into. Even if you're tired, you can watch a movie.
Yeah.
I do like cooking and baking, and doing like very extra things. So if my mom asks me to she'll say like, for Thanksgiving, bring some crescent rolls, and she means like get the can of crescent rolls, and it's like, no, I'm gonna like find a recipe to make some bread from scratch and do it that way.
Gotcha.
So I like doing that. And baking in itself is very peaceful. There were times whenever I would be stressed out about like exams and studying, and I would just be like, I'm going to take a break and go make some brownies or something. So
Yeah. And Steven's a lucky man that way, because yeah, it's funny too. You and Michelle a lot alike in that regard. She's all of that stuff as well. She loves horror. She doesn't watch horror movies with me. And you really, when you say somebody really loves horror movies, you can't stop in the middle like I just did. Michelle does not like horrors. She likes horror movies. So don't stop in the middle. Make sure you put out the whole word. Just putting that out there. She loves horror movies, supernatural stuff, all of that kind of stuff too. She loves to bake. She watches she listens to true crime podcasts now. Her and Ariel, you guys, you have a lot in common. She's not a teacher, but she was in the medical field forever. Now she's an accountant. But you guys, even your demeanor's a lot alike too. I think you'll have a lot of fun at Keystone Clash hanging out. Okay, so baking and cooking and stuff, and you like to really get into it. You sort of go above and beyond with it. The horror stuff. What's something else that you don't really have time to do, but if you had the time, you'd love to do now?
I mean, I'd love
or something you did as a kid.
I'd love to do more reading and writing, just for fun. But I just don't often have time for that.
What kind of writing would you do? I mean, what just
I used to write short stories and poetry, and I haven't in a long time. I I did a lot of the nonfiction writing for Tiger Weekly, and I did a lot of writing for my master's program. And
Yeah.
so I kind of haven't really had the time and energy to do any fun writing in a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. I can see how that sort of saps your desire to do it. Yeah, because when you're doing something, it's like, with computers. When I first started into IT stuff, I was a computer geek way back, well, for decades. Loved putting my own computers together and everything, even back in the early 90s, mid 90s. But by the time my career was over with, I stopped putting them together. It's just not fun. It's the same thing with the writing. I got to imagine if you're doing it so much because you have to, it takes away that fun part of it for you, and you never want to do it. You should write us. Let's have a horror short story about the Fishfam at the Keystone Clash. How about that? Why don't you write something up like that and bring it with us, and we can, when we're sitting out in the parking lot at 2 a.m., we can read it.
Have you heard of Exquisite Corpse, I guess is the style? It's
Mm,
where you start a story and then rotate the story, and each person
Oh,
writes a little piece
gotcha.
of it.
Okay.
We could
Okay.
do that, see
Okay.
what kind of crazy story we get at the end.
I'm scared. I'm scared. Yes, we've done those before. Those are fun. It's almost like um, Mad Libs on steroids,
Mhm.
just because it's so much more to
Yeah.
it. But yeah, yeah, that sounds fun. Did you just threw back the work on me? I was giving you a project. You just totally turned around and put it on me to do.
No,
That
I'm
was pretty.
great at doing that.
That was
That's what I do
shifty.
with Stephen.
Okay. Do we cover all the main hobbies? Is there anything else that you really miss doing that you used to do, or something you always wanted to do but you never got into for whatever reason, time, money, whatever? Let's say there's no time limit. You got all the time in the world. You're retired and you're got money falling out of every place. Uh, what would you do with your life?
Well, I guess okay. So this is an a hobby that comes in handy sometimes and then also is completely useless at other times. So I really like planning as a hobby, and specifically vacation planning, even if we're not necessarily going anywhere. I have like maybe 5 vacations planned in my phone with like the price of the hotel, probably from like 3 years ago. I'm sure it's not that price anymore, but I
Yeah,
could look it up. Um, I also, that's why I think I like the Disney vacation so much, because it's such intense planning. You can go, I guess, and do a spur of the moment trip, but you're not going to have a good time because you're going to be waiting in lines and you might get crappy amusement park food. But if, and we were supposed to go to Disney World
yeah.
last month, if our air conditioner hadn't broken, and I literally have a 10-page document that I made for each of us, for my mom, Stephen, Lily, and Zachary, and me, that has all of the restaurants that I pre selected for them to choose from, all of the rides. And I had them color code with a specific highlighter. What are your priorities? What do you want?
Yeah,
So that I could plan things and put them in
yeah.
order. So I'll save that
Wow.
for next time we go.
Now let me ask you this. So let's
Mhm.
say you finally get that all together. It's Disney
Mhm.
World. You're going. And you've taken all of those suggestions from people, and you get there, and none of it works right for whatever reason. How does that make you feel? Does that stress you out massively? Are you okay? Can you roll with the punches, or is it something where you're like, oh, this is, how
Well,
do you take it?
I set myself up for success because these are things that are in my control. So, mostly planning for things like, what restaurant am I going to make a reservation for? So, that's
Yeah,
something that, as long as I can manage time while we're there, and not like I wouldn't plan every single ride, I would get
sure.
suggestions of which ride And then they'll have like, it used to be fast passes, but now they're called lightning lanes, where you can skip the line and you can select some of those. So I would pick which ones are most important and do
Gotcha.
that, so that we can make sure that everybody hits that. And then I look at the list, and whatever else we can hit is great. But
But you didn't answer the question. You
I
said I can,
I
yeah, I
would
can
be very
control it.
anxious.
Yes. Yeah. Would it make you
But
like frazzled and
of course,
stuff just happens. So you really, once you set that plan in motion, that plan does need to be followed as much as possible.
yes. But I try to be realistic and
Sure.
build in room for error. So just so that I'm not set up for disappointment, because
Gotcha.
I absolutely would be.
Yeah. It would destroy you. I mean, would it ruin the vacation? Could you still
The
gather up the
vacation
pieces and you know?
isn't really for me. The planning part is for me, and the
Okay.
seeing everyone else have fun
Okay.
is for me. Um, but as long as everyone else doesn't feel like their vacation was ruined, then I
Yeah.
just will internally scream
Okay.
and let them have fun, and then I'll move on.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. That just just learning about people's personalities. About how because I ask every Saturday. I ask Michelle, so what's the plan today? And sometimes she has a plan, and sometimes she doesn't. And whatever, I'm good either way. I just like to know what the plan is. And if the plan changes, I'm good with that. But I still like to know what the plan is. I still have to know what's the basic
Yeah.
idea. What are some things we need to hit here? Do we need to see Grandpa? Do we need to get groceries? Do we, this? What's the things that are going on? And most of the time, I don't even leave the house anyway. So the plans for her, how long she's going to be gone. But still,
Yeah.
I gotta know. I gotta know. So
Yeah.
okay. Is there anything that I missed that you want to tell people about? We didn't really go too much into the family because we do know Steven.
Yeah.
Steven's been on the focus on. We don't see, but we talk to Lillian quite often. She's in
Yeah.
chats. She probably is here today. I don't know if she is or not. But your youngest we don't see, right? How old is he?
He is 8.
Okay,
Um, he just turned 8 in April.
gotcha. Okay.
So,
Oh, which reminds me, tomorrow is Chattanooga Ed's birthday too.
yes.
So when people see
He's also
Chattanooga Ed,
turning 8.
say happy birthday. Mentally, because he does have childlike wonder, Mr. Chattanooga Ed. I didn't mean mentally. I don't mean he's got the. That was horrible to say. He just has that childlike wonder of an 8-year-old. That's it. He's not mentally 8. I'm sorry, Ed. If you're listening, please don't hate me. Please don't hate me. There he is, right there. So, there's anything that we missed that you feel that is important that people know about you as a person, or is there anything that we need to talk about? Anything that makes up who Jenna is?
I mean, I have myself a very small family. I have one half brother who didn't grow up with me. We share the same biological father. He grew up in Texas until he moved to the Pennsylvania area for college, and then ended up living there with his wife, and now he's actually living in China. So
Wow. What does he do for a living? Or can you? I mean, is it anything that
yeah,
you can talk about?
so when he was in Pennsylvania, he was a pastor, and he started to make extra money teaching English online to
Oh,
Chinese
okay.
students.
Yes, yes,
And
that's a big thing.
they loved him so much, and he loved it so much, that he left being the lead pastor at his church to take his family over to China. And they give him an apartment for free at the university where he teaches, and he gets to teach the students in person now. And I think the plan is that he's going to return to the States probably in the next year or two.
Okay.
So he was doing that temporarily.
Back to
And then
Pennsylvania,
hopefully,
or
I think he has plans to move to Louisiana
oh,
because
really?
because that's where I am. We also, like, my mom was an only child. Our dad only had one brother. And so I have exactly 3 cousins, and they also live in North Louisiana, close to Jess. Um, so if he moves to Louisiana, he's by pretty much all of his family as well.
Gotcha, gotcha. Now, how did you know about him most of your life? You said you didn't grow up together. Did you know about him most of your life, or when did you find out about him?
I always knew
Okay,
there is a little bit of contention between his mom and
yeah,
but I did get to meet him when I was 7. He came to stay with us for a bit, and then when my cousin got married when I was 14, he was grown up. He's 9.5 years older than me. So we were able to spend time together there because he came ahead of the wedding. He came for my wedding. He's been to our house a few times. Um, Stephen and I went up to Pennsylvania once to visit him when he was living there. And then the last time he was in town was for another cousin's wedding right before he was leaving to go to China.
gotcha. So it's a small family, but it sounds like you're relatively close. I mean, I don't.
Yes.
I have a ton of cousins. I'm a ton. My dad had 6 brothers and sisters. There were 7 kids. My mom only had one brother. But both sides. I have a ton of cousins, and there's one called John. That's the only one I remember, and I don't know any of them. I mean, so a huge family, not close in any way whatsoever. But you have a very small family, and you guys are pretty close.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. That's cool. Because a lot of times you hear the big families that everybody's close and crazy and all that. But I was just curious how that worked. So it's I guess you probably even appreciate them even more because it is such a
Yeah.
smaller amount. You don't have so many cousins to switch out. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What about anything coming up on the channel with you guys too? I mean, Wednesday night you guys have your live stream. Is there anything coming up that you can touch on, or any projects you guys are working on that you want to talk about at all, or is there anything?
Maybe if I say it into existence, Stephen will start working on his plant farm video that he's been trying to work on for over a month. Uh, he's going to be mad that I said that.
Yeah.
But
Well, the I am a Snell took a lot out of him, and the rest of you
yeah.
too. So
I'm sure we'll probably do a Hayfish tube for July. We're also looking at doing the Not So Newlywed game on
okay,
a semi-regular basis, but separately, like not part of the Steamy McStreamy stream,
gotcha.
and not on any set timeline, just like whenever we feel like it.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah. There's enough people, I think, for you to be able to put up a pop
Yeah.
up like that pretty quickly. There's enough. Yeah, and I'm definitely interested in that. I don't know if Michelle would. Again, she has never done anything on video. You and Steven are the only people, other than the
Yeah.
people that you've the only two that saw her on video when we had that chat about the
Mhm.
Triple Crown. But people met her at the Keystone Clash last year, but she's just not interested in all of this. It's not for her. She's not, and real quick, I do see a question in there, Mountain Greenery.
Mhm.
So the Discord is not set up yet for members of Fishroom Fever, Ed, and the Secret History. Right now that Discord server currently only is for Steven and myself for our channels, the members on our channels. But James from Fishroom Fever said he does want to join. We just got to get him set up. Ed also said, because he does have memberships now, he wants to join. And Alex did want to join. So all of that is coming soon. It's sort of, and same with Jess from the Aquatic Morning Show. So if you're a member of any one of those channels, you would have access to the members only Discord server for all of those channels. But I just need to get with Jess. Yeah, I see Jess right there. She said yes. I just need to get, that's totally on me. I never followed up on that. So I got to get Jess will be next. So the Aquatic Morning Show is the next channel to join us. And that hopefully will be soon if I ever get off my ass and do something with it. So, so soon those other channels, Mountain Greenery, soon those other channels will be on there as well. Okay. I guess this is a good time then. We're almost an hour in. So why don't we go ahead and open it up to the chat. Again, please. Now you can see the chat just fine, right?
Yes, I can.
So you can address them to me at Rico Stan, or are you in YouTube side too?
I'm not, but I can if I need to be.
Well, it just makes it easier for it to pop out. But yeah, you're not. Okay, which not a big deal. I mean, it's not. If you want to, you can. But do either one of those though. It won't pop out for Jenna, but do the at Rico Stan and it'll pop out for me. But if you see a question, feel free to jump in. So, and Bex is doing Myrtle's question for Mark because Mark Strolson brought that up today. And thanks, Bex, for reminding us. So, and again, you know what the question is, but Myrtle's question, and Myrtle has asked this question just about every focus on that we've done, which I can't remember how many. Somebody go look at the playlist. 68 of them, 69 of them, 70 of them were somewhere around there. And there's a long ways to go. We're not even, I mean, I have 350 people on my list of regular YouTubers, just the community. I have 350 people. So, plus that's not including the bigger channels that maybe aren't Fishfam per se, like we don't see them around, but they still are people that the Fishfam is interested in hearing about. So there's a long way to go, and it's always people come and go, so that's always going to continue. There's always going to be people to focus on. 70 Zen Ginger, 71 with Jenna. So you are the 71st of the focus on, and thanks, Zenny. All right. So, anyways, back to Myrtle's question, and he did ask us just about every single stream. What would you change about me? And what would I change about you? And you can go first because I don't have anything. I got to think about it.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking about this question. So I already know.
Okay.
And the answer is, of course, that you need to be able to receive compliments and well wishes from people.
Well wishes are all right. I just,
I know.
I know. It's because when I get sick every month and it just gets tiring to, hey, I hope you feel better. I will. It's the same old conversation every month. So it just gets old. It's been that way for 18 years. So it's just, it gets old, and I just don't like people waste energy on it. Compliments.
Feel like they're wasting energy.
I know. And I appreciate where all of that comes from. Compliments I do have a hard time accepting because most of the time I don't feel like I deserve them. It's just imposter syndrome. They
wouldn't say it.
Yeah, sometimes people say things, they just want to get on your good side for whatever reason. Some people are that way. They see something to it. But generally speaking, our community is not like that. And you're right. You're right on both of those. I could do better on both of those. It's a character flaw, but I think if it's a character flaw to have, it's not a bad one.
No.
And I don't really have much of anything to. I mean, I've watched you for probably close to a year now. When did you guys start to stream McStreaming?
September, I believe, is whenever Steven started, and he did the first few by himself. And he really wanted me to do it with him, and I was very hesitant because I don't want to be on camera. I don't want attention, but I agreed, and then I had to do it forever, I guess.
Forever.
So that's how you get Michelle, I guess. Just one time, and then you did fine. Everybody loved you. Yeah. I can't do it without you now.
She hates it. She doesn't want anything to do with the fish. See, that's the difference. You are very interested in the fish. She's interested once in a while. She comes in and looks at him, and she listens to my stories and stuff. But she's just not. It's not for her. Nature isn't her place. She loves to go out hiking with me and stuff, but it's not for her. So, geez, what would I? You know, I don't know. I don't know what I would change about you. And it feels like it's been a lot longer than just September since I've been seeing you stream. It feels like it's been a year. And that's not a bad thing. That's a compliment. You know, that's a good thing. It feels like it's been a long time.
I think back in late June was whenever I first started actually replying myself in chats, because I would listen with Steven, and sometimes like I would have a funny thought and I would say, you should type this. And then he just finally was like, you type it. And then I think we were listening to your stream driving home from vacation, and he is like, you have to type for me, but say that it's Steven's wife.
Yeah, I do remember that. I don't remember what it was. It might have been a focus on or something, but I do remember that. Man, I'm having a real rough time coming up with something that I would change about you. You know, and that's not to say you're perfect. You know, I'm sure you have I'm sure you have your issues, but I don't think perfection is something to strive for personally. It's just not me. I think that the flaws, a good example is every year when we bought a Christmas tree, we always bought one that had some major flaw in it. Every time we made sure to buy one that had a big flaw in it, a space with no branches or whatever. And those are the type of people I surround myself with too. I have nothing. I'm sorry, Myrtle and Bex and Mark, but I have nothing because the three of them were involved.
Did you see what Ed said just now?
No, I actually stopped it from scrolling so I could get these other ones. Let me scroll down real quick.
He wishes that I would have more children to have Girl Scout cookies.
All about yourself, Ed. That's funny. Okay, Zenny wants to know your last meal, prison rules. She's been here, she knows. So, yep, anything from anywhere, any time period.
I mean, I really appreciate a good steak, and like a loaded baked potato and a wedge salad, because I really like blue cheese dressing. And I would probably have like a chocolate lava cake.
Oh, Stephen P giving me money. Nope, Jenna is perfect. Oh, that's a big aw moment. Stephen, thank you for that. Wedge salad. I don't know what it is. First time I ever heard wedge salad was on Modern Family, because we're binging that, and Phil, I don't know if you watched Modern Family, but Phil was going on and on about this wedge salad that his friend told him about, and his wife had told him about it way before, and she was very upset. What's a wedge salad?
So a wedge salad is usually, it's called a wedge because they'll take iceberg lettuce and cut a wedge out of it, but you can use any lettuce. And then there's usually crumbled bacon, tomato, blue cheese dressing, and then fresh blue cheese, fresh blue cheese crumbles, and then a balsamic drizzle.
Oh, yeah, that sounds delicious. I think I would leave the flesh off of it, but otherwise it sounds delicious. Flesh. There's flesh. Okay. That sounds like a good meal, though. I'm not a big steak eater, but every once in a while I just have to have one. Geek Boy wants to know, favorite hair color, blue or pink?
On Steven, I think it was good to have the combination. It was a good combination. But I'm partial to like the teals and blues. But you can see the color scheme behind me.
Yeah, I like it too. That's what one of our walls is painted. I did the same thing. I just tried to point at it. It's blue. Oh, I missed this one. Ed wants to know what's Steven's favorite thing to eat.
Um, I mean, he likes steak also. The thing that he requests for me to cook the most is something that I actually have to cook for probably tomorrow, which is Greek chicken, um, which is just it's like a lemony Greek herb chicken that I bake with rice and then make a Greek salad.
There's another one. Oh, and that's
Yeah,
from Annette. Team
go
Jenna is perfect. Oh, thanks, Annette. Team Jenna. Team Jenna is perfect. Not just Team Jenna. Team Jenna is perfect. Uh, let's see. The next one I see. Okay, I got that one. Okay, here, this one's from Eduardo. In all the years of teaching, which students are most memorable? Did you have some students that really stood out, or any type of really, really memorable students?
Well, the ones who have the strongest behavior are usually the most memorable. But I do have some that, and that's not always a bad thing. It can be very stressful in the time, but a lot of times when students are acting out, they're looking for attention and they're not like a bad kid. Most of the time they're looking for attention. It can be focused and redirected in a way that lets them know that you care about them. So some of my students that were very stressful at the time end up becoming my fondest memories
Gotcha.
because I knew they were reaching out for someone.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And Eduardo being a teacher as well, so
And I've been teaching for 12
Bex.
years, so there's always a few every year. There, I mean, that first class of 10 students, I can still remember all of their names. They're like graduating college age now.
Wow. Yeah, that's got to be weird. That's got to be weird. When we left, so when my not when we left, when my wife left upstate New York, she moved to Arizona, and she left here in second grade. And she went to Arizona, lived most of her life in Arizona. That's where we met and everything. Came back. Her teacher from second grade was my son's second grade teacher, third grade teacher when we moved here. So she was still teaching, but now she got to teach, my wife's son. So that was pretty cool. Let's see, Bunny Viper, your favorite book and movie,
It's
or
really
TV
hard.
show. TV show can be thrown in the mix too. And you know what? If you like, you can make one of each. Your favorite book, your favorite movie. They don't have to be the same.
So that's really hard because there are a lot of shows that I'm excited to watch when they come out, and I'm equally excited for them. And then when they end, it's not like I need to go rewatch that show over and over again. Right now The Boys is out, and
Yep.
we're really enjoying that one. We're
Gory.
catching up. Yeah, that's good.
It's so
It's
gory.
it's
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, real
it's a
quick.
pretty funny show.
I love it. I do, but because I read the comics and I think they're
Mhm.
doing a great job. I'm sorry to interrupt you too, and I forgot.
For
Bex
Bex.
also said, yeah, the 499 super chat. Thanks again, Bex, and she also joined the Jenna is Perfect team. Boys is really good though, yes, and they're doing a great job on it. So, but you
We're
never go back and rewatch movies or TV shows, or I shouldn't say never, but very often.
not very often. There are some that I have seen many times because they're syndicated on TV, and so if they're on, I'll watch it. I don't often go back and purposely watch them unless I want to like share it with someone, and then I'll rewatch it. Like I think I rewatched Orange is the New Black with Steven to convince him to watch it. Arrested Development.
Oh yeah, that's
That's
a
a
good
great one. We're catching up
Love
on Stranger Things right now.
Yeah, we just finished yesterday.
Breaking Bad is a good one. I would watch it again with someone to introduce them. Um, The Haunting of Hill House is a really
Yeah.
good one on
Michelle and
Netflix.
Ariel love that. But you can't pick a favorite, can you? You can't pick favorites out of all
No,
of those.
I can't pick favorites of anything.
I'm with you. I understand that 100%. It is so difficult, regardless of the medium, regardless of the genre, anything. It's so difficult to pick. The only thing I can come even close to is my favorite musical artist is Tom Waits. I love Tom Waits, but he has a huge catalog with a wide range of styles. And that's it. I can't tell you a top 5 or a top 10 in any other thing. So you're the same way. It's very difficult,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. Even,
Gotcha.
I mean, even with music, there's so many variations from like my childhood, like music
Kelly.
was 90s. So a lot of 90s music, but then I went into a like country music phase, but then also my dad when I was little was very into Roger Miller and Elton John. So that
I
was
like
like
Roger
my
Miller. Yeah.
first
Elton John too. Yeah, I love that stuff. Okay, so I got to read this one. And Kelly, thank you again, $20 super chat. And I'm on Team Jenna is perfect, and Steven would be pretty lost without her because she is totally amazing. That's what her hashtag is. And again, thanks everybody. I appreciate those. But I get that. And the only way though that you would go back and watch a show is like you said is if you really wanted to get somebody else into it, or you watched it and you want to basically Steven. So if you really want to get Steven into a show,
yeah.
And
I'll watch that. Like I'm not opposed to seeing it again. Like if it's on TV on syndication, that's fine. But I also like finding new things.
Yeah.
So
we watch
if I'm
too much.
looking for something,
we watch too much, so there isn't a lot of new stuff for us to watch. So that's why we've started to go back. We binged Modern Family. I'm curious to see in a few years how Lillian does, because with that binge watching shows and stuff, because my kids, they're in their 20s. My oldest is 30. They rewatch the same shows. Like my daughter has probably watched The Office, the American version of The Office, 25, 30 times now. I mean, she watches Parks and Rec for my son. I mean, I'm curious if Lillian will do that as well when she gets a little older. It seems to be a new thing,
She likes to binge watch things with us. She got into The Big Bang Theory, and so she wanted to watch that with us. I think she got into Brooklyn Nine-Nine and wanted to watch that with us. And she got into Cobra Kai, and so we watched that with her.
Did you like it?
I do like it.
I can't get. She's not interested in watching it anyway, and I rarely watch anything by myself. Hardly anything. Everything I watch is with Michelle, because that's our time. We hang out and talk and have something on in the background, and I got to get her interested. If I get more people that said they like it, maybe she will give it a chance. Okay. Bunny Viper says, what is your favorite or least favorite and least favorite thing about teaching? So what's your favorite thing about teaching?
So I guess my favorite thing about teaching is just being able to interact and hopefully shape some lives, hopefully get some children to love learning, because even if they don't learn the specific standards, wanting to learn things is something that's very valuable skill to have in life. Everyone should always be learning to grow. My least favorite thing is restrictions and scripted programs that sometimes get pushed on teachers.
Gotcha.
Not so much in Montessori, because we have our own set of rules, but in other places.
I would have hazarded a guess that was dealing with other people's children. But that's not your least favorite. That's not a super bad thing for you most of the time. Most of the time, the kids are.
They're kids, so sometimes there's a bad day and a stressful day, and you approach it like the next day is a new day. You have to give them another chance. Everybody has bad days, and they're children, and you have to realize that the way you react to them is forming their opinion about education. So I have to not hold it against them.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're coming at it from a totally different. I just have to go to the movie theater and hear somebody screaming kids, so it's a little bit different. You have a different role to play. So I can just say shut the F up, and you would never do that. So yeah, because I could watch other people's kids fall off bikes all day. I don't care about their kids. That's a quote from Letterkenny. I do care about your kids. Don't get upset with me. Let's see. And again, I probably have skipped some, but I'm looking for we're closing in on 8:00. So I'm looking for the at Rico Stan ones that pop out at me. So if I missed your question, I'm down to USL. Hey there, at 7:30 p.m. my time, half past the hour my time. So if you had a question before there that I missed, please, put the at Rico Stan so it pops out and I see it, and go ahead and ask it again. Favorite flower from USL?
So I like a few. It's hard to pick favorites. The flower that was like our wedding themed flower was a stargazer lily, and I really like those.
That was white with like a red and stuff in the middle, a little bit of color in the middle.
They are pink in the middle.
Okay.
So the white with pink coming out from the middle.
Okay.
I also really appreciate orchids, and I really like birds of paradise.
Oh yeah, I do too. That is a beautiful plant. I really like those. Paul Cetera has some of those in his yards. Jenna, or sorry, Bex wants to know, who is someone you've looked up to the most as a role model throughout your life? Is there anybody there?
Probably my mom. She's
Yeah.
the only like constant person, and sometimes you get frustrated with your parents, but
Sure.
I've seen her go through a lot of things and be very strong, and so that helps me. So like when my stepdad died, because I had seen her handle things, I was kind of able to see what can I do that will help her through this situation.
Gotcha. And you guys are very close today.
Yes.
Gotcha. Let's see. Nano Aquarium Guy says, back to another favorite book. We didn't really touch on books. We talked about TVs and movies, but he goes with that. He says, what genre do you enjoy? So, what?
I like anything that's. So I know you said Michelle likes supernatural. I tend to like more realistic horror stuff.
What's a good example?
So like The Girl Next Door, which is a terrible book. It's a good book, but it's like people, if they look up the synopsis, are going to think I'm terrible.
But more, not so much vampires and werewolves and supernatural things,
no.
but instead just crazy people and evil people and things like that. Okay.
Yeah. I've read through. I have a collection of Edgar Allan Poe that I've read through several times. Other really terrible things like the 120 Days of Sodom, which is very difficult to get through because it's so disturbing.
I don't even know what it's about. I can guess.
The read. Also, dystopian novels like Brave New World.
Oh,
those kind of things.
Yeah. I'm there with you on that. I like those too.
So
it's funny too how like in the 70s, a lot of our sci-fi and stuff like that about the future was all very bright and sunny, and there wasn't a lot of bad things that happened. There was some movies, Logan's Run, was dystopian, but there was most of the sci-fi and fantasy of the time, not fantasy, sci-fi. Everything was positive, Star Trek, all these shows, everything was positive. The future was going to be better. But now you look at it, and a lot more of it is not that way. Where we think that the future is going to be way worse than it is today.
Yeah.
Okay, so you like stuff that disturbs you a little bit.
Yeah, and I also am very into reading about actual serial killers. I think I read through Helter Skelter a few times whenever I was in high school. But then also I read through like Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights in high school.
Gotcha. I read Helter Skelter too, and it is interesting sometimes just to see just how far out that people get and where how do they get there,
Yeah.
Okay, Shane wants to know what's your favorite and how you doing on time. Do you need a drink or anything? Do you need to take a break? We've been going. Okay, just making sure. Where was I at? Oh, Shane. And hi, Shane. Jenna wants to know, what's your favorite song to listen to on repeat right now? Something that sticks out to you.
I don't really have like what I do in the car if I'm not listening to a stream is I will turn on 90s Pandora and just let it cycle through.
Gotcha.
And that's what I'll listen to.
Yeah. And is that all different genres mixed up together on that?
No, it's pop and rock from the 90s.
Okay.
The kind of stuff that Jason never plays on Name That Tune.
Yeah, he does play a lot to the older crowd because I definitely know my 60s and 70s and 80s music and 90s. I do know my 90s, but and I like new music. Don't get me wrong. Most of my generation thinks all the new stuff is crap, and I don't believe that in any way. There's a lot of great music being played today. It's just that you don't hear it all on the radio. It's a lot of the pop music is very, I don't care for a lot of the stuff today, but there's still a ton of great music being played today.
I feel like there was a void of good music from like 2003 to 2010, though. Like that.
I don't know.
That was whenever I was working in that retail clothing store, and they made us listen to, and just wasn't for me.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Dee Dee said, "Oh, that was a big all moment. I teared up a bit at Steven's comment about Jenna's perfect." Nice. Let's see. We're down to Mystery Snail Guardian with the. Here we go. Crown Tail. Does Stephen P contribute by eating and complimenting Jenna's cooking, or does he cook too?
So
is he just more of a consumer?
Nowadays, yes. Whenever we moved in together, when we were engaged, and even whenever we first got married, I did not cook at all. He was the cook, and I could cook like Hamburger Helper. And it was just something that I decided I wanted to be able to contribute. He used to also, in addition to having to go to the office, sometimes he had to go travel for work. And so he went on a business trip, and I decided I was going to research and make something for him and try it out. And I practiced. I made roasted potatoes and chicken piccata and green beans with bacon and onions and a chocolate panna cotta.
Nice.
So,
and it turned out all good.
That was the first thing I made. Yeah.
And was he like totally surprised when he came? Well, what's this?
I think he was surprised because I hadn't cooked before.
Yeah. Nice. Now, does Lillian, and I always talk about Lillian because your son is so much younger. I mean, not that she's older, but you know what I'm saying. she's at the point where does she enjoy cooking and stuff? I wouldn't expect your son to really be forming those types of things yet. But does
It
Lillian enjoy cooking with you?
depends on the day. Sometimes she gets in moods where she wants to help me cook everything, and then something will happen like she has to touch a raw chicken, or she like a little bit of sauce splatters on her hand and she decides she doesn't want to do it for a bit. So,
Gotcha. Okay,
and
so she's an 11-year-old. You know.
yeah, yeah. I didn't really know much about cooking because when my mom would ask me to help her cook, it was always like measure the milk and pour it in, and that was like it. And so I
Yeah.
never really felt like I was cooking.
I
And
don't
so
know.
I try to make sure that she's doing like you're gonna chop these vegetables and you're
Yeah.
gonna actually like use the tongs and sear the meat.
Do the
So
actual part of it.
yeah.
I, I don't know what made Aiden get so interested in cooking, but he is a really good cook and he cooks dinner just about every night. Sometimes it's simple. Tonight was just spaghetti. Nothing major. He didn't even, didn't do the sauce from scratch or anything, just a jar of sauce and simple. Other nights he really gets into it. He makes some really, really good stuff. So he's always been interested though, and he cooks all the time. We're down to Brookley Bell with wanting to know, and she's been asking this one quite regularly too. And I love that. I love that people are coming up with questions that they ask often. Like the same question for different people to see how they answer differently. Do you have any unique, weird physical traits like hypermobility or odd sound effects she can make? No, I
Um
think you're doing. And Brookley says, I still don't know how to ask this question. Don't be weird. I get it. I get what you're saying, but I think you do fine with asking it.
so I don't know that I can do it anymore. I used to be able to completely turn my hand around like 180 degrees, like rotate my hand.
Yeah.
I am double jointed in this pinky, and I don't know if it comes across on camera, I can make a hole in
The
my
divot.
hand right there that
Yeah.
nobody else I have ever met is able to do.
Does your pinky sort of lock when you do that? Like it
It
locks in
does.
place?
It
'Cause
does.
mine used to do that, but it doesn't anymore. Like, they do and they used to be really, like,
And I think it's because I'm double jointed right there.
did you ever do any damage to that pinky that you remember?
No.
And it's not on both sides, just that one side.
I'm not double jointed in both sides. I can do it on this one, but it's not as deep. It's
Gotcha.
pretty deep in this one. Like I could pour liquid in it if I wanted to.
Maybe it's some type of evolutionary trait.
I don't know.
Maybe it's maybe something that's going to happen all the time. Okay, it's going to jump on me here. It's nope. I got down to Nano Aquarium guy. Is Stephen P next to the router, ready to unplug it if you say too much? Blink twice if yes. Like if we ask the wrong questions. All right. And again, I know I probably missed a lot of comments and a lot of stuff. I'm just looking for the at Rico stand so it pops out orange. I can really see it.
I like that you said that it's going to be like a survival trait. Like, what is the trait? Is this
I don't
how
know.
you get water?
It'll
You
do
collect
something.
rainwater?
It'll do something. Maybe something to do with typing or in the future, maybe, it's going to be something that'll help you survive in the apocalypse that's coming. Oh, there's another good one, Eric Wyrock, and this is another one he's been asking everybody. And again, I just absolutely love that idea. Jenna's favorite sandwich. Do you like sandwiches?
I do at places. I don't often make them at home. Um, I have specific things that I'll get. So if I'm going to Subway, it's probably going to be a tuna sandwich. Um, because I appreciate good tuna. But I also am into like the sandwiches that are like grilled chicken and maybe like Caesar dressing and melted cheese and lettuce and tomato, or like a caprese salad version of a sandwich.
Gotcha. I don't really have a favorite sandwich either. Let's see. So Barbara Jackson wants to know sweet relish or dill relish or no relish on hot dogs.
No relish on hot dogs. I do not
like
like
hot dogs,
pickles. I do like hot dogs. We had hot dogs last night.
You don't like pickles?
I don't like pickles. I am okay with relish in things, like if you make potato salad, it has relish in it, and
Yeah.
that's fine.
But
I
no
don't like
pickle.
pickles. No.
Pickled anything? I mean, you like pickled asparagus, pickled green beans, pickled anything? You don't pickled eggs?
No.
Nothing pickled.
No.
That's not
And
right.
pickles are one of those things that ruin something for me. So if I say like no pickles on a burger and the pickles touched it and they removed it, I can tell because the pickle juice like seeps into things.
Yeah.
So
I love pickles. Pickled everything. All right, let's see. And so I'm scrolling past a lot of conversations, and I'm sure I missed some questions. Here's one from Crowntail, and I'm at the bottom of the chat right now, and I think we'll cut it off here in a few minutes. We did get the 8 o'clock mark, so Crowntail would like to know, and I like how she asked it. Could you ask the lovely and perfect Jenna P her pet peeves? Number one, and any advice she would give younger Jenna if she could time travel. So let's start with the pet peeves. Is there anything just that minor annoyance, the pet peeve that bothers you?
Yeah, I have plenty of those. The one that I put on the ladies' night quiz is so trivial, but it really bothers me. And that's whenever I hand someone paper and they immediately fold it, or even worse, like crumple it up unnecessarily.
Without looking at it, you mean? Or if they look at it, they can fold it, or just anything? You just don't want them
I don't want to see them fold it because I gave you an appropriately sized paper. Like I would have students that they had a folder and I'd give them a paper, and instead of sliding it into their folder, they would just crumple it and shove it in their book sack. And why?
That poor paper. Is that your, would you say that's your biggest one? That's your biggest pet peeve?
I don't know if that's my biggest.
That's a very specific one too. That's a good one.
It's a very specific one. I mean, that's the one that's top of mind because and Steven's right. He said that's my first memory. I gave him my address and phone number on a paper because we were going as friends to see Star Wars in the movie theater with like a group of friends, and he immediately like snatched the paper from the middle and crumpled it.
He almost ruined the whole thing right there. He almost missed out on how long again? How have you guys been together?
It'll be 20 years in July.
Yeah. He almost missed out on 20 years because of his poor paper etiquette. Okay, so what advice would you give a younger Jenna if you could time travel? Don't give Stephen P paper?
I don't know.
That's funny.
I don't know. Probably to not be so shy. I'm a very shy person. Booksack is a thing, Matt. Although every time that I type it, like Word wants to correct it to backpack. I guess that's the common.
Yeah.
That's a sack.
Yeah,
for
I don't
book.
know. I don't know we've ever said book sack. I mean, I knew what you meant, and but yeah, I don't know that I've ever heard anybody calling it a book sack. Rucksack. Rucksack.
There are all sorts of crazy. It's not the craziest thing you could hear in Louisiana. There's,
and you don't have much of an accent either. I mean, Stephen, same. Neither one of you. Brooklyn Bell, a little bit. Brooklyn. Jess, has a much stronger accent than you guys do, but hers isn't really Louisiana, right? You guys have talked about that. Hers is more. Hers
Jess?
is more. Yeah.
Jess is definitely northern Louisiana. My
Okay.
cousins who live there sound just as like this. They have the same twang that she does. Other parts of Louisiana will be more Cajun.
Like where Chubbs
Yeah.
lives, because Chubbs definitely has a very strong accent. You know, he's definitely, it's very strong. But the three of you don't really have super strong accents at all.
Yeah.
Oh, so don't be shy. We got off the subject there, so don't be as shy. Try to be out there more. Gotcha. A lot of people saying they don't like pickles, and you can all go pickled everything. I've had so many different
Pickled
things.
Raisins?
Well, I mean, any kind of raisin. Hand me raisins, and that'll be the end of somebody. Yeah, raisins are my one. Raisins are just horrible. Raisins are wrong. And anybody who likes raisins is wrong.
Well, I don't seek out raisins, but I don't hate raisins. That's one of the things that I'm okay with.
I love the way they smell. I absolutely love the way raisins smell. Love it. I just cannot eat them. I hate them.
Prefer to eat a grape than a raisin.
And I love grapes. Oh, yeah.
Here's another, I guess, pet peeve is that I don't like grape juice because it doesn't taste like grapes to me. That it's kind of annoying, and especially artificially grape flavored things. I don't know who said that that's what a grape tastes like, but it's not.
Must be a very specific kind. Yeah, a very specific kind of grape, I think.
Not a grape that I want.
Nano Aquarium guy says raisins are grapes gone wrong. They're just pickled. They're just perverted grapes, just like those little crackers that people call pretzels. Those are crackers. Those aren't pretzels. That's a perverted cracker. It's all twisted up. That's what that is. A pretzel is nice and big and soft. Maybe has some salt and some mustard. That is a pretzel. Just because you tie something in a knot doesn't make it a pretzel.
Is it about
any other questions? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, is pretzel just the process of like using the baking soda water and getting it to make that like pretzel condition and then baking it?
I have no idea, to be honest, but I don't care for those little cracker things. I don't like the taste of them. The ones that are, little hard ones, I just don't like them at all. But a nice, big, soft, bready pretzel, love it. All right, well, we are after 8 o'clock. Still a lot of cool streams tonight. If anybody's got anything else, throw them in there real quick. Again, Jenna, is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to bring up, or anything promotional wise? Go ahead.
I would like for Geek Boy to tell everyone why he bought those plecos, or else I'm going to change our thumbnail.
You're on the spot, Geek Boy, because we know Geek Boy talked about the poop factories in a very derogatory
how much he
manner.
Hates plecos. And he spent quite a lot of money. They're very nice plecos.
And I didn't say hi to everybody. A ton of people came in. I know at one point there was like 75 people came in to see Jenna. I appreciate you guys all coming in and hanging out with us. Next week we have Eduardo will be our guest on the Focus On, and then the following week will be Grant from the Garden of Eder. And there's a whole bunch of people still coming up again. And if you would like to be on the Focus On, I don't really reach out to most people and ask them if they want to be on it. I wait for them to send me an email. So my email's at the top of the screen up there. Rico Stan. You don't have to write me a big story. You just say, yeah, I'd like to be included on the Focus On. Because some people just don't want to, it's too invasive or whatever. They're just not comfortable doing it. I have too many sword plants, Geek Boy said. That doesn't seem like a good reason.
That's the real reason.
Yeah, I think that seems like a cop-out to me. Kyle wants to know, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes, it is.
I think it is.
I don't know if you've ever watched Good Mythical Morning, but they have it's a YouTube channel, and they have a chef, and sometimes they do Mythical Kitchen, and they did a whole thing about, is a hot dog a sandwich? And I think also, I don't know if you're familiar with Matt Pat on YouTube,
No.
but I think he did a food theory about if a hot dog is a sandwich.
And the conclusion was yes.
And the conclusion was yes. And he uses a lot of science to back up what he says. Bex is upset.
I don't know how you cannot think it's a sandwich. It's something in two pieces of bread.
Two pieces of bread with meat in the middle.
Yeah, just because the bun doesn't, or the bun has a connection. I mean, hot dog becomes a sandwich if the bun breaks. Yeah. Yes, it is a sandwich. See, this is something. This is something that it's funny because people feel very strongly about something that doesn't matter in any way, shape, or form. It's like the pineapple on pizza. If you don't like it, don't friggin' eat it.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. I love it. I love pineapple, jalapenos, and sausage. Italian sausage on pizza is my favorite. Extra cheese. Oh, that is my favorite. I love that combination. But if you don't like it, that's okay. Don't tell me pineapple doesn't belong on pizza, though, because it's my pizza. I'll put on it what I want. That bothers me. I'll go off on a rant about telling me what to do. You might notice I'm always talking about how evil and bad cats are. We have two. Well, that's a fair point from Geek Boy about the plecos. That's a fair point. He does, yeah. A hot dog is a freaking hot dog. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for all the super chats. I appreciate all of those very much. You still got Bentley tonight. You still got who else?
Dr. Black.
Yeah, he's after Bentley. Catfish Terry, Whizzle, and Hippie John might already be going. I think they go at 7:30. I feel like somebody else started doing a stream on Tuesday nights as well. Somebody new. You could probably find him on fishfam.link, but I'm not sure if Ed, is it your buddy? Is it your friend? Is it? I forgot your friend's name now. Mitch.
Oh, Mitchell Broom?
City? No, Scruffy City. Maybe I was getting those two guys confused.
Oh.
I believe somebody started a stream on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. So they're probably going right now. I don't know if they are I forgot if they're on fishfam.link yet. Scruffy City. And hey, John Oliver. Oh yeah, that's right. Bentley's video is speaking tonight, right? Or he's at one of the club meetings. So his is a video tonight. All right. Thanks everybody for hanging out. See you guys. Thanks for all the super chats and all the support. And thanks for being you. And Jenna, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you guys.